network with the Silicon Valley and other parts of the world, with the Armenian celebrities, entrepreneurs, influencers. What is the the entrepreneurs are searching for the places where they can find support for their startups. Imagine if someone from Kazakhstan or Russia or Belarus might have an opportunity to meet someone like Aleksис, our great friend, or someone like Serge in the art or in music, or someone like Eric Israelian, or someone like Zoryan, Mr. Zoryan. It's a great value, and this great value we should open to the community around us, to the countries around us, and that would help us to become a center. We should think big. We should propose to the countries, come to Armenia because we have these people, and we will open these opportunities for you. And guess what? If we give this opportunity in a programmed way, institutional way, I can state that will be by default available for any Armenian live in Armenia or out of Armenia. That would be an institutional platform. So let me also announce today the Armenian Virtual Bridge Project connected with High Connect network, allowing Armenia to become a center. Thank you.
We have a second part also. We'll be announcing something more, which has to do with the IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electrotechnical Engineers, for the first time coming to Armenia, and the president is with us here. Before moving to that, we'll stop for a second to see if you have any questions. High Connecting եւ Armenian Virtual Bridge-ի մասին, անոնք պատասխանենք, վերջը ուրիշ հայտարարություն ունենք IEEE-ի մասին։ Խնդրեմ։
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to learn. Thank you. Thanks everyone for your presentation. I would like to learn more about the functionalities of this platform that you announced about. Is there any more insights or how it's going to work? Thank you.
This is something that we have been planning to do, but we are just on the verge of actually getting it done. So we're kind of open to ideas as well. Between everyone on an equal level. And so I think after a lot of talking and thinking between all of us friends and some others, we came up with this concept. And it's a way of connecting all of us and utilizing our interests to create specific niche small groups and communities. And those communities can go off and do many, many different things. For example, if you have a certain interest, you're a journalist, and you want to meet other Armenian journalists, maybe not in Armenia, because you might know a lot of them in Armenia. That's a good way to start, for example. It would track your interest in journalism, and you could. It's a great place to confer. And Aleksис and I have talked about this, that we all think that the internet's evolving in a way that smaller kind of focus-based communities are the future, rather than this open space of social media as we have it right now. So this is a great way of us as an Armenian nation to get into that space.
Yeah, and like most or really all successful software products, we have a big vision for what this could become, and I think you've heard that outlined here. When it comes to launching things, unlike say like a Hollywood blockbuster, We want to just get a sort of minimum viable product out there as soon as we can to start getting feedback from our users for what's working and what isn't. So that's also part of the reason why it's a little hard to go into details quite yet, because we're still going to watch and see how the product evolves based on how people use it. But as Serge described, like we know that there is this common bond that unites us. We know that there are platforms, whether they're professional networks like LinkedIn, or they're totally not professional networks like Reddit, and everything in between. There are places where Armenians can sort of connect, but are not really doing the job well enough. And so then how do we create a space where, for even some of the most popular of us, who I'm sure, like Serge could have an infinite number of people who would want to learn from him about all sorts of arts and music and production and creation and creativity, the magic is actually in the network. And for so many people who are still finding their way, the best person for them to actually be learning from actually doesn't look like Serge. They're actually someone who's maybe just a couple of years ahead of where they are today. And so helping make those connections is actually, I think this gets really interesting. And it also just reinforces the fact that the value of this community is not just in the celebrities who exist in it, it's in all of us at our various stages. And, we've got some lofty ambitions, but thanks to Yerevan, one step at a time, we're going to get this.
Can I just make 2 points too? I was going to say, first of all, I think all of us feel, we always talk about how we have an incredible global Armenian nation, but we have to enable one another to reach that global Armenian nation. So that was a big motivator. And I think we haven't made the point yet, but this is a non-for-profit venture. So this is really just to create something that is really for everyone. And we want to facilitate the communication. We want to facilitate the connectivity. And we're establishing a non-for-profit foundation for that purpose.
Եթե կարելի է վիրտուալ բրիջի մասին երկու բառով կարող եմ նշել, տեսեք մենք պարոն Զորյանի հետ Սիլիկոնյան հովտում արդեն գտել ենք այն տարածքը, որը պետք է լինի ապրելու եւ աշխատելու տեղը այն մարդկանց, ովքեր այդ ծրագրին դիմելով կգան Հայաստան, իրենց ընկերությունը կգրանցեն, կդիմեն, նաև իհարկե տեղական ընկերությունների եւ ձեռներեցների համար է, կդիմեն ծրագրին, մասնակցելով այս կամ այն ձեռներեցության դասընթացին կամ որևէ այլ դասընթացի, սա շատ երկար դասընթացների մասին չի խոսքը, 3-6 ամիսանոց հիմնականում ձեռներեցության եւ նաև ուժեղ մարդկանց հանդիպելու եւ նաեւ վենչուր կապիտալիստերին հանդիպելու եւ ներդրումներ հայթայթելու համար։ Այսպիսով այստեղ ծրագրին դիմելով եւ հաղթելով նրանք նաեւ հնարավորություն կստանան ապրելու եւ աշխատելու հենց այդ ժամանակահատվածում այնտեղ որտեղ որ արդեն վարձակալած տարածքը կունենանք։ Այսինքն Սիլիկոնյան հովտում սկզբի համար։ Հետագայում մենք կարող ենք նաեւ ծավալվել կախված ծրագրի հաջողությունից։ Շնորհակալություն։
Ներողություն, հայ Connect հաղթակի ստեղծումը կարող ենք դիտարկել որպես ուղղակի ներդրում Հայաստանի տեխնոարդյունաբերության մեջ, թե ամբողջ ծրագրային ապահովումը պետք է դրսից արվի։
Նախադեсված է Հայաստանի մեջ։
Այո։
Բանասանայո։
Hi, I'm Courtney Linder. I work for Popular Mechanics Magazine. My question is for Alexis. So Reddit started this kind of idea of like content moderation in the earliest days, I feel. And I'm wondering, how you felt at the time about content moderation, because obviously it was like the Wild West, and how that's evolved over time. Because you do have human moderators in a sense because of the subreddits, right? So I guess, how has it changed from then versus now?
Okay, I'm going to answer this abruptly just because I want to keep it about High Connect. But I do think that there's, and I learned this lesson really when I came back to Reddit in 2014 to help lead the turnaround, is, when we combine human moderation with software, and in particular, automating the sort of filtering of content through AI and ML, we can see a much more effective system in place. And the techniques and the tools that just didn't even exist 10 years ago, like physically just were not possible, are now making this job a lot easier and a lot more efficient. And so it's an exciting thing as we think about in the context of High Connect. We already have a community that has a shared sort of stated identity and purpose. And so I think when it comes to doing community management there, it will be a much easier job than trying to create a platform that is global and has hundreds of millions of users. But the lessons that I've learned from Reddit, I think are going to prove helpful for this project. But I'm also grateful for the fact that Eric, Serge, Yerevan, and everyone else involved have such a diversity of backgrounds that we've got a lot of things in our respective careers that are going to help hopefully make this a success.
Hello, Samuel Stolten, you're active here. I have a question for the Minister, if you don't mind. I would like to know a bit more about Armenia's approach to 5G technology, what the state of play is in the country, what your deployment plans are, and if you have any wider cybersecurity concerns around the deployment of 5G.
That's a great question, but not very much connected to the High Connect and Virtual Bridge. However, I'll answer very briefly. Currently, we are in a stage of understanding how we should free the megahertz, the spectrum for 5G, and also apply in a juridical